everybody and welcome to Flock Talk. Today we're going to go over how you can teach your bird to give you a kiss. So in order to teach a bird to give you a kiss, the main thing we're trying to do is orient their beak towards a body part. And to teach kiss, we don't want to start with our faces because it's very easy for a bird to end up biting you instead of gently kissing you. So what we're going to do is use the back of our hand, or you can use an object if you'd like, it doesn't really matter. And we're just going to hold a treat between our fingers and get them to gently take it out of our hands. And what we're trying to do is get them to move their beak as close to the back of our hand as possible. And over time, as soon as they're comfortable taking that treat from you, you're going to start to wedge it between one finger and the back of your hand. And what this is doing is kind of forcing them into touching their beak against the back of your hand, which is what we're going to use as the action of actually kissing. So as you'll see here, I'm gently pressing my finger against the back of my hand, and between my finger and the back of my hand there's a little treat that Mia's taking out. The more repetitions we do, I actually start making that treat less and less visible, so what she's going to start doing is pecking my hand, trying to figure out where the treat is. And the moment her beak touches the back of my hand is when I'm going to actually give her a reward, instead of getting her to take it from my finger that's sitting against my hand. Another thing that's going to happen is by pressing food against the back of your hand, there's going to be crumbs and bits that are going to get stuck to the back of your hand, and you're going to actually want to leave those there. What's going to end up happening is the bird is going to start pecking around the back of your hand to try and get those little treats off. And as soon as they start doing that, you're going to want to give them a massive reward, because that's what we want. That little gentle pecking motion is what's going to be turned into kissing later on. Now the other important thing here is that we aren't reinforcing biting. What we want to be doing is looking for when their tongue contacts the back of our hand. What you could also do is use a closed beak, but typically the tongue is what we aim for. And if you find that your bird is trying to bite the back of your hand or anything like that, you're just going to pull your hands away for a second and wait for the bird to calm down before proceeding, and you're not going to reward them at all. We want to reward them for having calm behavior and very gently taking treats off the back of our hand. And as you can see here, the more you do that, more constant repetitions and rewarding for getting those little crumbs, they'll actually start to just peck the back of your hand when you point. And then once they're at this step and you can just touch the back of your hand and they'll peck it, what you can start doing is applying this to different objects in different parts of your body. So I'm actually going to move on to using my arm. And I'm just going to present my arm to her and point again, and as you can see, she very gently just pecks it. Perfect behavior, perfect kiss, and we can pretty much say that she's learned how to give a kiss at this point. But just to make sure she fully understands, we're going to go back to the back of the hand. We're going to try out a different object, maybe try out a piece of paper. You could use any object you have in your house, any amount of things. The main point is that you're just trying to teach them that wherever you point is where you want them to peck. And if you find that they're having difficulty doing this with different objects, you can just repeat the same process that we use for the back of our hands. Holding a treat between your fingers, pressing the finger onto the object, having crumbs on there, and you're just going to repeat the process. And if you wanted them to do this to your face, you would do the same thing, only you'd be pointing at your cheek, obviously, and you just go over and over and over again. So that is how you teach a bird to give you a kiss. Now there is one question I did receive over on the blog regarding what you do when a bird starts getting aggressive with this and they start to bite. And the pretty simple answer is that you just stop reinforcing. As we go through this process, what you might find happening is the birds will try and scratch and close their beaks, but that's not what we're trying to reinforce. And reinforcing when they close their beaks is what's going to start causing them to think that biting is the right response. So when we're training this behavior, we're not looking for the bird closing their beak and biting the back of our hands. When they start doing that, we need to stop reinforcing and reinforce the correct behavior. So what we're looking for is when their tongue touches the back of our hand. And that's where the use of crumbs can really come in handy. What's going to happen when your bird is looking for crumbs is they're going to start using their tongue to kind of dab them all up. And that sort of curious, playful behavior is what we need to reinforce, rather than them going and trying to bite. So whenever you're dealing with a bird who's already started up this bad behavior of biting instead of kissing, all you're going to do is stop reinforcing. This means not yelling at them, not shaking your hands at them, not giving them a treat whenever they do this. And by doing that, they're going to learn that every time they bite, they get nothing in return. They don't get anything exciting, they don't get anything tasty, and they're not going to want to repeat the behavior, because that's why behavior repeats. Behavior repeats because something is there that's causing it to want to be repeated, something desirable that the bird can get out of biting. So by stopping any sort of reinforcers, the bird's going to realize that, hey, biting is not getting me anything fun anymore. And what is getting them food is those times when they do it gently, when they just use their tongue. And over time you won't even have to deal with the concept of biting anymore because it's not even across their minds. Because they know already that biting is not what's earning them the reward, just using their tongue to gently touch your skin is. So I hope that answers your questions, and I hope that this video was easy to understand. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, and things like that, do not hesitate to leave a comment down below and I will get to them as soon as possible. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye!